Kiara, good to see you. Welcome to Popternative.
Nice seeing you too. Thank you for having me.
Long time no see.
I saw you yesterday.
To dive deeper about season 2 of School Spirits on Paramount Plus, tables are turned a lot this season. People who you thought were a certain way are not who they seem and everything. What is it like specifically with certain characters, with your character or Rainbow's characters or Josh's character? What's that like seeing that on script and then translate this to screen, so to speak? Those like kind of transformations. It's interesting.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I mean, the writing's phenomenal. Like Nate, Meg, Oliver, and the whole writing team, they're great. But it's so interesting seeing how each character, and I say friend because they're like we're like a family. Seeing them bring it to life, it's so different. Like I'll think they'll do it a certain way, and then you see them on set doing it, and they do it in like 3 different versions, and you're like, wow, I didn't even think of that. And so it's really neat being able to watch that and just seeing it come to life.
Absolutely. Take me through, the pace of filming season 2 compared to season 1. Did it feel very similar? Because your characters are going through, like the storylines are different. It's still kind of that mystery of what's going on with the bodies and all that stuff and who's a ghost and who is it, right? Like it's the same stuff a little bit, but just more. Yeah. But like, what was it like filming season 2 compared to season 1 for you?
So it was like totally different. And I felt like the season went a lot quicker this time around. Maybe it's because we had already done it before, but not even that. The locations, like in season 1, we were mostly in the school. A lot of I feel like the majority of the scenes were in the school. This time around, we had like barely any school scenes. We were outside most of the time. Yep. So it was a much more like adventurous, much more, different dynamics, different friendships that were forming, and just almost like a Ghostbustery type of vibe. That's what it was this season. It was so fun.
The actors and storytellers like yourself on our favorite shows are also fans of TV and film as well, and they are viewers as well. And I find it interesting because the end of season 1 was just one of those like what just happened moments for everyone involved, for the viewers, for the cast, you know what I mean? So like even before getting scripts for season 2, what questions do you have? Just as someone reading the scripts or watching a TV show about School Spirits, like what's going through your mind? Like when you're like, okay, we're back for season 2, but like, what are questions you're thinking of? Like who are you thinking of character wise? Like, I'm just curious about that for you specifically. Yeah.
So when we finished season 1, obviously by this point, I would assume people have seen it. The whole cliffhanger of like, wait, did Xavier die? Who went into her body? Who's Janet? So I think all those questions, pretty much the same questions that the fans probably had, was the questions we had, because we didn't get to see the scripts of the season 2 until we actually got to Canada, like to shoot. They were very much like how it was in season 1, where we didn't get the scripts till like a week or 2 before we filmed it. So we were very much like the fans, figuring it out as we go.
The body takeover was literally just me going like, what? Because I don't know, they did such a good job where like I just didn't like think about that. I was just thinking.
Yeah. No, literally when they showed that last part in season 1, I was like, wait, I thought so many theories, but I did not expect like another, something going into Maddie's body and Maddie coming. Like I didn't expect that.
And I want your perspective on this, because your castmates are the ones that are kind of the ghosts from different eras. But I think that's one of my favorite things about this show is how well it's done with the ghosts from different times and different eras. I love that. Yeah. What do you think about that? And what is that like, kind of working with these actors, given that you're working with these actors that have to play characters from different eras and times? Like, I'm just curious what you think about that specifically.
I mean, we don't, the alive people don't get to work with the ghost as much, obviously.
But you're all around at times.
Yeah, we're around sometimes, yes, when it's like something where the ghosts are passing by as I'm having a scene or something like that. But we don't really get to watch too many of their scenes. So much so that when we're watching the season, we're like, wow, that happened. Or look at, Milo did this. That was so cool. Or Peyton did this, because they have so many scenes where we're not around. But it's really neat seeing them like bring these different eras to life, especially since they're not from those eras, So seeing the research, seeing the work that they did before getting to set, I think that's really cool. The different, the 80s, the 90s. I love that stuff.
We talked about this yesterday on the press junket, the audience kind of reactions to a show like this. And I'm wondering if for season 2, given the impact of, that cliffhanger and everyone talking about it, do you ever feel like you're like an audience member, like reading, like when you're reading the scripts for the first time for season 2, do you feel like you're just kind of one of the fans of the show sometimes? Like I'm wondering about that because I find that really interesting, right?
Totally. Like you're reading, you're like, wait, so what's gonna, like in my mind anyway, I'm like, wait, so then, Mr. End, what? This happened? What? I'm like so surprised every time we got to read a new script in the table read, and half the time all you hear is like gasps and like, oh, ooh, like all around the table. So I think all of us have probably the same reactions as the audience members.
It's all storytelling at the end of the day, but
Yeah.
you've been in other shows and projects where it's been different worlds, different characters. And I'm wondering if you look at something like School Spirits, like how separate are past projects for you compared to something like School Spirits? Like, do you bring mindsets, preparations from something like the Society to something like School Spirits, or are they completely separate once you wrap them?
I think sometimes maybe that can happen a little bit, but I think Society happened a few years prior to me booking this, so I don't think I had Madison in here a little bit.
No.
And it also helped that Nicole's character, I resonated with her a lot of me when I was in high school.
Yes.
So I sort of took from that more than I did maybe previous projects that I had worked on.
Yeah, because it's interesting, right? Because it's like I look at like even like TV and film and like sci-fi versus comedy and everything. Like it's Kiara Pichardo, right? Like it's you in these projects, right? Even though they're like different roles, right? So I feel like you naturally kind of bring yourself from project to project, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe, a little bit of me in all of them. I think so.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
Naturally do that somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to think about. It's my filmmaker hat going off. I always think
No,
about
it's an interesting question. Like, it's a good question.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. That's why you came back on the show a day later, because you like the questions. No, but it's interesting, right? Because you've dealt with this already for season 1. And I feel like it's a completely different, unique situation because, like, clean slate for everyone. Like, no one's seen these characters before. No one knows how it's going to kind of turn out. And now season 2 is going to drop on Paramount Plus. And is it still a weird feeling? This feeling of like you made something, you're proud of it, you wait, and then the world gets to see it. Like, what is that like for you? Like, it's like, do you get used to it at all? Are you still learning about it? Like, I'm curious.
I think with other projects I've been like that, but this project is very special. It's very different. And I feel very fortunate to have had this experience with this group of people because I feel like it's not like this every time where everything feels like a family, feels so familiar. It feels so comfortable. Like going to set literally felt like, when you used to do plays, I don't know if you did plays in college or
of course,
in high school, you would go to rehearsal and it was like with your friends because everyone gets cast in the same things,
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like. It felt like we were just going to rehearsal.
Well, it's funny. I didn't act in my
time.
productions, but I was like I was in the stage crew. So I was like the follow spot operator, the light operator, and like I had a great time.
Family.
Yeah.
They're still a part, you know what I mean? Once you when you do their little rap party at the end.
Of course.
Of the school production,
there's something
everyone's
about,
family.
I don't know what it is like, and I'm sure you talk to, because some of your cast also do theater, like Milo today. Big announcement with Milo. Oh my goodness.
I just saw that.
Yeah, no, but it's funny because it's like I find it's interesting, right? Because you do a show, like when we did our productions, we do it for four days, right? We go like Monday to Friday, right? And then there's just this like energy in the air the morning of a performance. Like I'm not even gonna be in the show. And I'm like, it's pretty exciting that we're like performing for someone tonight. Like, do you know what I mean by that?
I know exactly what you mean. It's like a moving train. It's like that thrill of like, okay, if you mess up, you keep going. It's not like a yell cut situation.
Yeah. But it's like 9 a.m. and you're going on at 7. And it's like 9 a.m. You're excited. You're like, I want to be there now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Literally, that's exactly the feeling.
It's crazy. I did also kind of want to ask as well, kind of like what you talked about in regards to it felt like rehearsal and everything with a show like this. Ensemble casts are interesting because you kind of mentioned like with the ghosts, you don't really get to see them as much specifically. But what is it like being on a show where like you do have scenes with like multiple people? Because you do, right? Like Kiara does have scenes with multiple people, but that's always not the case sometimes. Like you might be on a show that has like 19 people build, but you might only work with 3 people. Whereas School Spirits, you're working with, you have scenes with a good amount of people. So what's that like? It's like you're working on an ensemble cast, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I was like referring. It just feels like a big group of friends, like hanging out, doing this rehearsal for this play, but also just having fun, playing games, making funny videos. That's literally what we do in the green room. The few times that we do get to all be there at the same time, which you'll see that in this season. In this season, we have a few scenes where it's all of us. It's in the green room. It's like craziness, but good craziness, where we're just having a blast, trying to make the most of it. It's night shoots, we're delirious, we're drinking Red Bull, eating snacks, like it's just like a big family.
It's a big family, and shout out to everyone. Shout out to Peyton, Sarah, Nick, Spencer, Rainbow, Milo, Josh, like everyone, like Kristian, like everyone.
Patrick.
Patrick, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Meg, all
so shout out also to whoever names the episodes of the show.
I know.
Because, okay, listen to this, right? So I catch, like, I don't know, I have to go back. I didn't pay attention to the names of titles for season 1, but for season 2, they're like named, they're like puns of like movies from different, like, from the 90s or like 2000s and 80s. Like episode 3 is like Can't Hardly Wait, which is like Can't Hardly Wait, which is like one of my favorite like 90s movies. Did you notice that when you're reading them? Like, do you talk about the fact that they were the titles were references of movies?
Sometimes they change some of the episodes, but we're so focused on the script part that maybe we kind of skim past the title of the episode. But yeah, we noticed that afterwards where we're like, wow,
it's episode 3, like she goes to that party, so it makes sense. And it's like, so good. Can't hardly wait. It's so good. School Spirit season 2 on Paramount Plus. Episode's gonna drop. You can check that out. Kiara, so great chatting with you again. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. Kiara Pichardo on Instagram, right? I believe.
Yeah, you can look up my name, Kiarita_.
Perfect. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Till next time, this is Kiara and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.